I am back with a video that you have all been requesting like crazy on wholesale. I have all of your questions here and I hope I can answer all of them in this video. If you're new, my name is Caitlin. I own a handmade soap and cosmetics business called Fiorella Soapery, and I have created this YouTube channel to use my experience in growing a multiple six-figure handmade business into my full-time job. I was able to leave my corporate job 6 months ago, and I am fully working for myself, and it's amazing, and I want you to have those same dreams and goals come true as well. So hopefully I can help you get there. This video is going to be all about wholesale catalogs and getting you the materials you need to build your wholesale business. So the first question, let's get this out of the way. What is a wholesale catalog? I actually have some wholesale catalogs from when I was a buyer. That is my history. I used to be a buyer for a very big clothing company, and I have been to many trade shows and gone through many wholesale catalogs. So I am very well versed in them. But basically, this is a very high quality catalog book, and what it is at trade shows, buyers would go in and this would be what they would take with them. It has all of their product offerings in it, and everyone's a little bit different. So these oftentimes will have the SKU, the description, color codes, things like that. Sometimes price, sometimes not price, which is interesting. And then just any little information that you might want. This is how the big guides do it. That's not something that we're going to be talking about today on how to get these printed, but I wanted you to be able to see some of these different bigger catalogs, what it actually looks like, and what big retailers will do. This is a great example right here of just the Capri candles from Anthropologie. This is what it looks like when you're a buyer, and they'll usually refer back to this when they're making their buys, and it has all the info that they need. These are oftentimes done by season. It depends on if they do 4 different seasons or just a spring, summer, and then a fall, winter. You can combine them however you want to. I have 4 seasons in my business, so I will keep my core line in all the catalogs and then add in the new stuff so that you have a whole offering of what you're offering in that time period. So the first thing you need to do is figure out how you want to distribute your wholesale catalog. Are you going to be doing something in print? Are you going to be sending it to people? Maybe you might want to invest in having them professionally printed, or are you just going to be sending them via email in a PDF, which is what I do for my business. So first step is to decide which one's right for you. And then once you figure that out, you have to figure out what kind of information you want to include. Some of the questions that came up, one person asked if you have to have a SKU number. This is something that all of these big companies do. That's because a lot of the times they have hundreds, if not thousands of styles, and the best way for them to organize them is to do a SKU number. I personally don't have SKU numbers. I don't think that my retailers really need them because they are putting the information into their website or selling it in a brick and mortar store and not even on a website, and they're going to come up with their own name and description. So I have never had a request for a SKU number from a retailer, and I just find it to be something that I just don't think that I need to do that. However, if you are somebody who is doing jewelry and you have a lot of SKUs or anything really that you need to organize and you feel like you want to be able to pull that SKU number for reporting, or if you do have retailers requesting, then I would go ahead and do it. But I don't think that you have to have SKU numbers. I don't. So besides the actual items that you're offering in your wholesale catalog, some of the things that retailers might want to know that you can start to put into your wholesale catalog are things like scent descriptions. You don't want to get overwhelming though. I think a wholesale catalog, all the ones I've ever seen, are pretty clear and concise and condensed. You don't want to be writing a huge novel on each of your fragrances or products. It's just too many words that these buyers are not going to go through. In some cases, you'll have retailers who buy thousands and thousands of SKUs. They want it to be as simple and clear-cut as possible. However, if you are selling things like soaps, fragrances, things of that nature, if you can start to put a little bit of information, whether or not it's a floral scent or a clean scent, if it's essential oils versus a fragrance oil, if those things are important to you in your business, those might be things that you can include in a tiny little description box. The other thing is, if you're going to be selling in packs, I do sell in case packs on Faire, but I don't require my wholesale customers that buy directly through me to buy minimums of anything, and I don't have a business that's huge yet where we're doing case packs, so I don't have any of that information. But if you feel like you are at that point in your business or you want to do that, you can certainly add that into your catalog so buyers know if you want this item, you have to buy a minimum of 6 or whatever you put there. And if you're going to be using this wholesale catalog to distribute to people that you've never really met before, which is probably the case, especially if you are trying to get your products into a store that's not local to you, you may want to put a little about you section or an our story type thing in the beginning of your catalog, just so that retailers can get to know you and your brand a little bit better. You don't want someone whose first impression is your wholesale catalog to open it up and literally just be hit with a price list. I think that's fine in cases where you already have established relationships, but if you are using this wholesale catalog as sort of your cold call method to building new wholesale accounts, you want to make it a little bit personal. You want to make sure that you're putting something in there around your brand, your mission, you, why you started it. And the first couple catalogs I did, I included a photo of myself, so it just seemed a little bit more human, and I think that that goes a long way. Again, you don't want it to be super wordy. I would keep it to 1 page and a little bit of text to explain that. But this is not an autobiography or something that you need to ramble on. Okay, I'm gonna get my phone because I asked a bunch of you guys on Instagram the other day. All right, one of you guys said, should I add pictures or just text line sheet? This definitely goes back to the question of how are you using this. I think that pictures are definitely a requirement if you are using this to be a cold call type email and trying to pitch somebody. You want to give an image of what they're actually buying. If you send them just an Excel spreadsheet with style numbers, I guarantee you 100% they're going to ask you for a visual. As a former buyer, I would never buy something off of a spreadsheet without knowing the visibility. On the flip side, if you are already working with established businesses and your line doesn't change and you know that that retailer knows what your crisp pear whipped soap looks like, I'm using that as an example, then you can certainly send a line sheet. So that's the 2 different terms, just so you guys can understand. There is a wholesale catalog, and sometimes it's called a CAD, C-A-D, and that is what the visual is. And then on the other side, there is a line sheet, inventory sheet, something of that nature, which basically you would pull from your system, and it would have that style number if you had it, description, and then it would have the quantity in which you have in stock right now. I don't operate that way because I'm not buying a certain amount of goods of a certain scent, meaning if a wholesale customer wants to place an order with me, I can make products pretty quickly, so I'm not stuck with having to reorder with a huge lead time, and I can fulfill that order even if I don't have something in stock within my time period that I guarantee fulfillment. So 2 different things. CAD wholesale book is the visual, and you definitely want to have that, and then there's the line sheet, which is sort of your updated inventory, and a retailer that's already bought from you may ask for that line sheet, and it's a quick way for you to just send over your availability and what they could purchase right now for shipment within a couple days. Do you include your terms in them and or how to even figure those out? So terms is a term. So terms are payment terms, and in the world of retail, retailers are used to having net 30, which basically means that from 30 days of shipment or delivery, that's when payment is due. That allows retailers a 30-day period to sell some of that product before they actually have to pay. And so it's definitely a negotiating tactic in the world of retail. There are some places that have a net 90, 120, and it changes with different things. Going through the pandemic, the company I worked for, we changed things to 120 net days, which is a lot for a vendor to have to pay for all that inventory, make it, ship it, and wait 120 days until they see payment on that. So terms is definitely important because retailers are probably going to expect them or wonder if you have them, and you have to determine what you're comfortable with. I do have a section, and I will show you what it looks like on my terms. I require payment upfront. I require payment before I ship it, and that's because I am so small. I simply can't afford the net 30 days. I do it for fair, but that's a much smaller portion of my business, and so I can afford to have that net 30, plus I really can't control it. That's what the rules are on fair. It is going to get a little scary at times, meaning holiday. If you have net 30 terms, you are going to have to pay for all of your inventory, ship it for November and December, and you're probably not going to get any of those orders paid for until January, yet you will have had to foot the bill and pay for all of your goods and product and materials beforehand. If you are established and feel like you can do that and you have enough money and cash flow to be able to keep your business going and you're not living sort of paycheck to paycheck, then maybe terms is okay for you. But I think that if you are a truly small handmade business, I make everything myself, it's really just run by me, I don't think it's ridiculous for you to be asking for payment upfront. I really don't. If you get pushback from somebody on that, you can certainly negotiate, and you could even do a net 15. You can make the terms however you want. Terms are something that are not set by the retail industry. I believe you can do whatever you want, and again, if you're looking to open new wholesale accounts, it could be a way for you to negotiate and build a little bit more of a partnership and relationship with them. But if you are trying to build a partnership, they in turn should also understand that you getting payment helps you as a very small business owner. So that's terms. And on the back page of my wholesale catalog, I will show you what it looks like. I have these 3 things that you absolutely must have. One of them is terms and conditions. The other is our shipping policy, and then I have our return policy. When you are sending out a wholesale catalog, it's super important to have all of these 3 things. Almost every one of these catalogs that I showed you has something of that nature in there, and it's really an insurance policy for you. It also answers a lot of questions that retailers might have that will cut down on some of your back and forth in communicating with them. So when it comes to a shipping policy, I have shown you here what mine looks like, and I ship everything unless you are local to me. I will deliver. However, I do charge a delivery fee, and the retailer is responsible for paying shipping. I don't think a lot of people realize this, is the retailer pays for shipping. You should never be paying to ship goods to a retailer wholesale. They are used to paying shipping. They pay shipping on every major brand that they buy from. You should be no different. So do not ever pay to ship product unless maybe you're doing a sample or something of small like that. But if it's a wholesale order, the retailer should be paying for shipping and you should be paying nothing. And then the third portion of our last page is just a return policy, and I do not accept returns just based on the nature of my products. However, I obviously will work with a retailer if something gets delivered damaged or something of that nature. I'm super accommodating to my retailers if something happens. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you guys what my wholesale catalogs have looked like in the past. One of my old catalogs from last spring, and I just do a cover page here and just has my logo and everything. And then this is the page that you guys saw, just a little bit about me section. I have taken out my personal contact information just for security purposes, but I would put a phone number here or something where someone can call you. And then I do really want my customers to know about the products and the ingredients and what's not in them. So I have a little something here just explaining that. And then we get into our actual categories. So I start off with my whipped soaps, which is one of my most popular items. And I think this kind of lifestyle photography is important if you can add it in. It definitely is eye-catching, and it gives the retailer an idea of how it could be merchandised on their shelf and all of that. And then I have the ingredients here, a little bit of a description so they know the different prices, and these have changed, by the way, since it's been a little while, but you get the idea. And then each actual item is here. These are very small photos, but the retailer can actually see pretty well what it is. And then I have given a tiny little description, a little bit of a fluffy description. And then in some cases, like here, I said we use an essential oil to scent our lavender. And it just continues on to a second page. And in here, just so you guys know, my core line, which would be like a blush and peony, lavender, pink sea salt, salted, it's all here. These I carry year round, and then I have my seasonal ones mixed in. So they're all represented here. And then it just keeps going. So then we've got our sugar scrubs, same deal, our bar soaps, and our bath bombs, and then soaking salts. And then for lip balms, since these aren't really color specific, I just did one page here and I listed out all of the different flavors that we have here. And then the page here I showed you guys earlier. A few of my tips for creating your wholesale catalog, you could use either Canva or PowerPoint. There are definitely some templates in there that you can already pull from. I would just make sure that your colors are on brand, that your logo is on there, that you have the season or whatever time period you're working on, what that catalog is referencing, whether it's spring, summer, fall, holiday. And I would try to organize it by section so they can look and see a line sheet of all of your bar soaps, all of your bath bombs, if you're a jewelry maker, all of your necklaces, and you can have multiple pages, of course, but just so that they know what the category is. As far as saving your catalog, I always export to a PDF. You don't know if someone's going to be on a PC or a Mac, so sending something on PowerPoint can be very difficult. They have to open it, might be hard to download. So I highly suggest just transferring over your finished catalog into a PDF format. It also makes it super easy to email out or send to a printer if you are in fact going to be printing your catalog. I hope I answered all of your questions. It looks like I did from all of the stuff on Instagram, although a lot of you guys asked about pricing and pricing structure. I do have a YouTube video that I did a while ago on pricing, and I think that might be a better topic for its own video. If you guys still have questions on how to price for wholesale, just let me know down in the comments if you feel like you want me to elaborate more on that. But you can go look at that video. I did go into pretty good detail about how to price for wholesale. So that would be the only thing it looks like I didn't cover in this video, but I hope you found it helpful. And as always, I hope you guys found this super useful. Thank you so much for watching.